Hey Heritage Church family, this is the 6th out of 10 episodes we're doing in a study through the book of Proverbs. And of course, we can't go through the whole book. This is really just hitting the mountaintops and some of my favorite verses. And this is certainly one of those, Proverbs chapter 28, verse 1. And I love it because it's a vivid image of how a life characterized by wisdom works itself out. So let's read it together. Chapter 28, verse 1, it says this: "The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion." The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. And just think about this imagery. Just let it sink in. We see here the wicked, they're fleeing even though no one pursues. And the idea is this. I mean, that's silly. No one's pursuing you. No one's chasing you. And yet you're running away. You have an irrational fear. You fear for your life, even though there's nothing to fear. And the wicked are like that, but the righteous are bold as a lion. And, think about that. What's the lion afraid of? Well, probably not a lot. And particularly in the time when this was written, where you don't have a gun on your side to protect you against the lion's really not going to be very scared. And so what does this proverb have to teach us? Well, a couple things I want to point out. The first is this. We see this clear contrast between the wicked on the one hand and the righteous on the other. And this is true throughout the book of Proverbs, where God wants us to see that a life of wickedness leads a very different direction than a life of righteousness. There are two paths, and you think of Jesus when he talks about the narrow path and the broad path, and that's just taking something that was done in Proverbs. The path of wickedness is the way that seems right to a man, but that way leads to death, the Proverbs say. But the way of righteousness, it may be difficult, it may require trust in the Lord, but ultimately it will lead to life. So the wicked here flee when no one pursues. And I think that speaks to the irrational fears that wickedness eventually produces in us. And it's kind of funny. We look at this and you might think, well, I know wicked people who are very bold. But at the same time, those people may be bold up front. They may be, bombastic, or they may be people who are intimidating in a certain way. But there's no security there. There's no foundation. There's this idea that, I need to get what I can and can what I get and then sit on the can, right? I mean, there's an irrational fear, and it's why there are billionaires who have tons of bodyguards. Why? Because there's an irrational fear that they're going to be, shot or killed. Or it's why, wicked people, that they constantly are looking over their shoulder. Why? Because eventually that wickedness catches up to you. There's kind of this sovereign karma that the way that God has created the world is such that eventually wickedness does catch up to you. But then I love this. The righteous are bold as a lion. And why? Why is it that the righteous are bold as a lion? Is it because of their personality? No. Is it because they're somehow stronger physically than the wicked? No. But it's because they know who's behind them. The righteous can be bold as a lion. Why? Because of what it says in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Because they trust in the Lord. The righteous know that the Lord is their protector, that the Lord is on their side, so they don't have to flee even if someone is pursuing. And this is just a message to us, isn't it? That if we are the Lord's, if we are His children, He is our Father. He is our protector. He's a mighty warrior who works for us and not against us. Therefore, if we live righteously, and this doesn't mean perfection, but it means pursuing God with all we have, we know that He is on our side. And if God is for us, who can be against us? Yes, the wicked really do have reason to flee because they have no one to protect them, but the righteous have God on their side. Therefore, we can be as bold as a lion.